Emily Sanders traced the rim of her wine glass, the amber liquid catching the soft glow of the dining room chandelier. Laughter surrounded her, neighbors praising David's promotion, friends toasting their 10th wedding anniversary. From the outside, life seemed perfect, almost storybook. David smiled beside her, charming, attentive, always the devoted husband she'd married. Yet as she listened, Emily's mind flickered to fleeting moments that didn't fit the facade. The evenings he claimed to work late, but returned disheveled. The hurried phone calls he ended abruptly, the tight clench of his jaw when certain topics surfaced. At the neighborhood block party last month, she had caught him texting a number she didn't recognize, eyes darting over his shoulder, a small shadow of guilt in his usually composed expression. Emily shook the thought away, reminding herself love requires trust, yet unease clung like a faint perfume she could not wash off. She remembered the quiet dinner last Tuesday when he had avoided mentioning his past, deflecting questions with jokes and practiced charm. Cinematic moments colored her memories, the warm glow of string lights on the patio, the clinking of cutlery, a father balancing his child on his hip while talking to neighbors. Everything seemed ordinary, yet Emily couldn't shake the subtle tension that threaded through the smiles and congratulations. Something was hidden behind David's perfect demeanor, and although she didn't yet know it, the cracks in their life were widening, ready to spill secrets that would unravel everything. While Emily arranged the dinner table for her family, miles away, David unlocked the door to a different apartment. Laura's children ran toward him, their laughter echoing against modest walls adorned with crayon drawings and family photos. To them, he was simply Dad, warm, playful, present. To Laura, he was a partner whose charm never wavered, carefully measured to soothe questions and mask guilt. The narration peels back the layers. He meticulously timed texts to Emily, crafted plausible explanations for absences, and left no trace of this life in the organized ledger of his marriage. Each morning followed rigid rituals: wake with Emily, pretend devotion, brush off suspicion. Evenings with Laura, genuine warmth and laughter, a world he manipulated yet truly enjoyed. He was a master of compartmentalization, switching personas with ease, hiding fear of exposure behind effortless smiles. Cinematic juxtaposition highlights the stark contrast. Emily's pristine, curated home bathed in soft light. Every object in place, children tucked in by bedtime. Laura's apartment buzzing with energy, toys scattered, laundry half-folded, a real family rhythm pulsing in every corner. David existed between these worlds, a man balancing control and affection, artifice and reality. Psychological tension tightens as the narration emphasizes his growing obsession with maintaining both lives, aware that a single misstep could shatter everything. Meanwhile, Emily remains blissfully unaware, her trust in the perfect marriage holding firm. The stage is set, two families unknowingly orbiting the same man, a ticking bomb of secrets and lies ready to explode. Emily folded laundry in the soft glow of the evening lamp when a folded receipt fell from David's suit pocket. The unfamiliar restaurant name made her pause. She asked casually, "Did you go out for lunch today?" David's smile tightened, charm laced with an edge of irritation. "Oh, just a quick business lunch." "Nothing to worry about," he said, his tone smooth but evasive. The easy rhythm of their conversation fractured, leaving a subtle unease hanging in the air. Over the next days, more anomalies appeared, calendar entries scribbled in shorthand, appointments Emily didn't recognize, and unexplained small withdrawals from their shared account. Each discovery nudged her anxiety upward, yet her love for David anchored her denial. She reminded herself, he's a busy man. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. But the mind notices patterns even when the heart resists them. Dialogue during casual moments intensified the tension. When Emily asked about a late-night call, David laughed it off, deflecting with a practiced joke. "You worry too much. Emily, work calls happen." His charm was a shield, his evasions precise, leaving Emily caught between the warmth of his affection and the prickling suspicion he could not entirely hide. Narration captures her internal struggle. Trust battling doubt, devotion wrestling with fear. Small inconsistencies, once ignorable, now coalesce into a pattern she can't dismiss. The home, once a sanctuary, begins to feel fragile. Every glance at David carries a question unspoken, a shadow where certainty once lived. The chapter closes with Emily staring at her phone late at night, hesitation in her fingers, sensing that the cracks in their perfect life may run far deeper than she dares imagine. Emily lingered near the coffee machine at work when a colleague, Marissa, leaned in with a whisper. "You know, David's not exactly who he seems," she said, eyes darting as if the walls had ears. Emily forced a laugh, brushing it off. "Oh, come on, he's just private. That's all," she replied. But Marissa's caution lingered in her mind long after she left. Back home, shadows stretched across the living room, warped by the soft lamplight. The ticking clock on the mantel sounded unusually loud, each second amplifying her growing unease. David appeared in the doorway, casual but observant, his gaze lingering longer than necessary. He asked about her day, but Emily noticed the way he subtly monitored her expressions, as if measuring what she knew. Narration reveals Emily's mind spiraling. Marissa's warning colliding with past inconsistencies and receipts. Late-night calls and strange calendar notes. Every creak of the floorboards, every muffled noise outside, seemed loaded with meaning. Even the familiar walls of their home felt foreign, tainted by suspicion. Dialogue is minimal. Tension rising in silence as Emily forces a smile and chats about dinner plans, her voice a veneer over the churning anxiety beneath. Cinematic description heightens unease. The shadows twist around furniture, the wind taps against the windows, and David's watchful eyes catch every subtle movement. The chapter closes with Emily standing at the window, gazing into the dim backyard. Realizing the life she believed in may be nothing more than a carefully constructed shadow. Emily's fingers trembled as she scrolled through the folders on David's laptop, a sense of foreboding crawling up her spine. Hidden deep within a seemingly innocuous folder were photos she hadn't seen before. David smiling with a woman she didn't recognize, holding hands with two small children. Her breath caught in her throat. The room seemed to shrink around her, shadows twisting in the lamplight. Before she could process, David entered the study, his expression calm at first. "Emily, what are you doing on my laptop?" he asked, voice smooth, almost too composed. Panic surged in her chest. "Who are they, David?" "These kids, this woman, what is this?" Her words stumbled out, sharp with disbelief. For a moment, he tried charm, offering soft reassurances. "It's not what you think, Emily. You have to trust me." But as she pressed harder, his tone shifted, irritation veiled beneath a practiced calm. "Why are you going through my things?" "You're making a mistake," he warned, eyes flashing with quiet menace. Narration delves into Emily's inner turmoil. Terror, heartbreak, and disbelief collide. Every smile he had ever given her felt tainted. Every secret he had carefully hidden becomes evidence of betrayal. The life she believed in collapses in fragments around her, each one sharper than the last. Cinematic description emphasizes the room's oppressive weight. Curtains swaying, the glow of the screen illuminating her pale, shaking hands, and David's tense posture reflected in the darkened glass of the window. By the chapter's end, Emily stands frozen, realization fully dawning. The man she married has been living a double life for years, and trust has evaporated entirely. Emily sat in the dim glow of her laptop, heart pounding as she traced the digital breadcrumbs David had unknowingly left behind. Every social media post, every subtle online footprint pointed to a parallel existence she had never imagined. The woman, Laura, appeared in photos at school events with two children she recognized from David's secret world. Emily's stomach churned, the disbelief giving way to a simmering sense of violation. She reached out to a neighbor under the guise of casual conversation. "Does Mr. Lewis spend a lot of time at other places?" she asked cautiously. The neighbor's eyes flickered, and a whisper confirmed her worst fears. "Yeah, he's very private. Always comes and goes, sometimes with someone else." Emily's pulse quickened. Narration delves into her inner conflict. Part of her wanted to retreat, shield herself from the truth, yet another part demanded confrontation. She imagined standing before Laura, explaining everything or perhaps retreating, letting the secret fester without exposure. Every scenario was laden with moral peril, guilt, and emotional torment. Cinematic visuals underscore her isolation. The glow of the screen casting shadows across her face, the muffled hum of city lights outside, and the quiet rustle of papers as she spreads out receipts, school forms, and photos she had collected. By the end of the night, the evidence was undeniable. David's double life was no longer a whisper of suspicion. It was a concrete reality, meticulously built and maintained for over a decade. Emily's decision loomed: confront the other family, or risk losing herself in secrecy and rage. Emily arrived at a quiet cafe, hands trembling, as she spotted Laura sitting at a corner table, coffee untouched, eyes wary yet alert. David opened the door, confusion and defiance etched across his face. Officers stepped forward, badges glinting under the streetlights. "David Lewis, you are under arrest for fraud, emotional abuse, and manipulation of multiple parties," one officer declared. His voice carried the authority of justice echoing through the silent neighborhood. Dialogue revealed David's disbelief. "You don't understand. This isn't," he began, voice cracking between anger and feigned innocence. Emily shook her head, voice steady. "We understand perfectly. We've spent years uncovering your lies. It ends tonight," Laura added, her tone sharp. "Your control over our lives is over. We have the evidence, the witnesses, everything." Narration explored the psychological collapse of a man who thrived on deception. The power imbalance that defined his relationships was shattered in an instant, replaced by the weight of societal judgment and legal consequence. Cinematic visuals lingered, handcuffs securing his wrists, the flashing lights reflecting in his stunned eyes, and the quiet streets holding witness to his downfall. Emily and Laura watched as the last traces of his control vanished, bonded by shared trauma and empowerment. They exchanged a glance, heavy with sorrow but resolute. The chapter closed on the collapse of a long-hidden empire of lies, signaling that the final confrontation with truth and justice was only beginning. The courtroom was tense, every eye fixed on Emily and Laura as they took the stand. Cameras flashed intermittently, capturing the moment that 10 years of hidden deception would finally be laid bare. Narration traced their inner landscapes, fear, anger, and an underlying determination to reclaim the power stolen from them. Each detail mattered. The financial records, photographs, and messages carefully compiled over weeks. Each testimony a piece of the puzzle that revealed the full scope of David's double life. Dialogue dominated as Emily recounted years of subtle manipulation. "He made me question myself, my worth, my reality," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor beneath. Laura followed, her tone measured but firm. "We trusted him. We loved him. And he lied to us, to our children, to everyone who believed in him." Their words struck like deliberate, piercing arrows, shattering the illusion David had maintained so meticulously. Narration explored the dual process of justice and healing. The media coverage outside painted sensational headlines, yet the women focused inward on rebuilding fractured lives. The story of betrayal had captured public fascination, but the personal cost of exposing the truth was raw and ongoing. Cinematic visuals captured fleeting, intimate moments. Emily hugging her children with renewed presence, Laura reading bedtime stories to hers, and tentative glances exchanged between the two families as trust slowly grew. Together, they navigated the spaces once dominated by lies, reclaiming stolen time and redefining family bonds. Emotional resilience blossomed in small victories, the laughter of children, quiet mornings without fear, and conversations untainted by deceit. The chapter closed on a reflective note, narration weaving the story together. Deception shattered lives, but survival and solidarity forged a new path. The women walked through the park, children trailing behind, sunlight glinting off the paths that had once seemed impossibly dark. In their faces, the world saw sorrow transformed into strength, and a future rebuilt upon the unwavering foundation of truth.